Oh, the Powell River one is, you want to tell it as a sort of a story, I think. Beginning really at the beginning. And the beginning is that they're not really even sure that Powell River was named after Israel Wood Powell. Israel Wood Powell, you have to remember that name. That's the namesake for the Powell River, so they want to remove the name. But first off, there's just question over who the town was named after. It was probably a British cartologist. They lived side by side in pretty good harmony, I think. That's every report I've ever heard. Everybody was getting along. And then they started pushing for this name change, partly on the basis of the bodies that were found in Kamloops, right? They get this idea they want to change the name of the city. And it was just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. So not only did they not know it was Powell, Powell was actually quite a great guy in a lot of ways, because he was pushing for universal education for all children. Like, white kids weren't even going to school. There was no school for them when he was around, and he instituted the education system in Canada.
He's kind of a hero. He was
well known to be warm with the First Nations communities, right? He was a good guy. Some of the ideas that he had about residential schools and things like that were in the kind of planning stages, and he agreed with that in principle, but he didn't implement that. Anyway, so they decided to change the name, and the other citizens of the city are getting sick of this. And, no, they don't want to. They're attached to the name. It would be a huge hassle to ports or whatever it would be that you'd have to do, right? And just no. And, when we said no, what happened to one of the ambulance drivers there was when he said no, the BC ambulance service, or the BC medical whole system, I think, the medical system, because he complained, fired him, promised him that he would never work for them again. So he's lost his career for opposing this. They called him a racist because he said Kamloops was a hoax, which is weird. Saying Kamloops is a hoax is not a racist comment. Yeah, and some of the language coming from the former chief, he said that white people in Canada were subhuman. He used that expression subhuman numerous times in a conversation with the editor of the New Westminster Times, David Brett.